Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to continue the 30 for 30 series. We are now in the Legendary era, as you know. And this one, we're going to talk about Godzilla 2014, The Return of the King. This was probably one of the most fun I've had, not just doing YouTube, just in general, in terms of excitement for a movie, excitement for a Godzilla movie, and then just learning the whole YouTube thing while developing my channel and working on it. And, you know, I started my channel in 2013, and I believe it was the late summer. And I knew about the Godzilla movie, but I didn't know it was very hush-hush. You know what I mean? It was very hush-hush. And when I started my channel, it wasn't to be a Godzilla YouTuber. If I would have known Godzilla would have been so popular on my channel, I probably wouldn't have called it Entertainment Talk Nation. I probably would have called it Godzilla Talk Nation or GTN or something like that. But, you know, when I started my channel, it was with the idea of building a community of people I can just converse with and talk with about different aspects of entertainment, whether it be video games, movies, TV shows, etc. Even sports. We know we've even done some fantasy draft here on ETN just for fun. And as a lot of you know, a lot of you that have been around here for a long time, it all started with the leak trailer for the Godzilla concept of 2014. And me being clueless of how to run a YouTube channel at the time, like an idiot, puts it up on my channel, or at least tried to put up versions of it, which was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it gained my channel a lot of popularity. On the other hand, obviously I got copyright strikes. Now, the copyright strikes weren't too painful because at the time I wasn't live streaming. That really wasn't a thing. At least for me, it wasn't. But it wasn't big on YouTube. You know, Twitch was still the king of that. And then from there, I still went along, did my videos, and then live streaming started becoming a thing. And I couldn't live stream because I had a copyright strike on my channel. So I didn't want to wait. I just went and created a different channel. And I was very fortunate that pretty much everyone got over from my old channel to my new one, and those who didn't right away eventually found it. And then from there, it just took off. You know, I remember going into 2014 early, there was just so much incredible hype. I can be honest, in my experience, the hype levels were bigger at that time than they were now. I think the hype levels now are different in the sense that people are hyped about what they're going to see. Where that time people were hyped about what they were going to see, they were also hyped about Godzilla coming back. And then add to the fact that we really didn't get to see much of Godzilla through the trailers and everything. It was very, very tongue-in-cheek in terms of how much we knew and how much we were getting from trailers. It was complete opposite of what we got now. You know, now it's like in your face. Back then it was not. And I think that was a benefit and a bit of a detriment. I remember being excited a lot about the Monarch angle. That was a big thing for me. I've spoken about that many times. Aside from Godzilla, the next thing I wanted to talk about was Monarch, because they were so heavily emphasized in like the I would say the publication marketing, like, you know, magazines or viral marketing and some of the commercials. Unfortunately, they didn't get to explore Monarch very much in the 2014 movie. And I think one of the reasons there are people who don't like the 2014 movie is because the trailers portrayed something different than what we got in the movie. You know, the trailer portrayed almost a sense of foreboding, of just despair and darkness. And while we got that tone a bit in the movie, it was very light. It was not as foreboding. You know, the trailer made me feel like Godzilla was just going to be a complete anti-hero. And he kind of was, but not in the same way that we've seen before. Many times Godzilla would come to the country, Japan, and he'd wreck Tokyo, but then turn around in the same movie and save it from another monster, almost as if he's saying, "Look, this is my turf. I can do what I want. You can't come here." This one, Godzilla was more animalistic. He was just a monster on the hunt, looking for his prey, and a lot of his destruction was not aimed. It was just collateral damage from him being so goddamn big. So he wasn't malicious. He just was. He was, and they did portray him more heroically, but there were narratives in the story that clearly made it aware that you were just in his way. He wasn't trying to kill you. He wasn't trying to knock this building down. It was just in my way. I'm trying to get to these two monsters, and I'm trying to get there as best I can. But if a building falls, hey, my bad. I'm a big guy. Where in the Japanese movies, it was more like, oh, I'm going to wreck this, I'm going to wreck this, and what are you doing here? This is my city. On screen, if you're not paying attention to the narratives, it looks very similar. But when you pay attention to the narratives, you see that Godzilla was more portrayed as just an anti-hero of circumstance. And amazingly, that was very different from what we got in the trailers. In the trailers, it seemed like Godzilla was just going to wreck everything. Now, I am overall happy with the idea that he came off the way he did in the movie. I was a little disappointed that it wasn't as foreboding as it seemed. Like when they did the trailer with the Halo jump and you see just how dark the city is, it's on fire, Godzilla's there. Even though we saw that scene in the movie, and it was even a better scene because the Muto was actually in that scene, it just wasn't the same because you knew what you were going to get at the tail end of that, where in the trailer, you thought it was just Godzilla wrecking the city. And Godzilla wrecking the city is not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, we have not really seen an intentional Godzilla wrecking of the city yet. It doesn't look like we're going to get one here either. If anyone's going to be wrecking the city, it looks like it's going to be Ghidorah. So, but 2014 was overall, I thought, was a great movie. My feelings about it have not changed at all. If anybody asked me to re-review the movie, it would probably be identical to what it was 5 years ago. And I'm happy with what Gareth did. He filmed it excellently. There were, of course, things they could improve on. Obviously, the lighting was very poor, especially towards the end of the movie. The story was very mediocre at best. And the best elements of the human characters were gone within the first 30 minutes, which is Bryan Cranston's Joe Brody. Aaron Taylor Johnson, unfortunately to me in that movie, looked like he packed it in. He is a great actor. You just watch some of his other movies. He is fantastic. He was very bland in this movie. He just wasn't convincing as a lead man. And maybe he was too young for that at the time. Maybe now he's a little bit older and maybe he can handle that. I don't know what it was, but he just did not convince me as a person that could carry the movie, because even though the story wasn't that great, it was mediocre. Then if you get some good actors behind it, you can elevate it to a whole different level just by the actors. I mean, let's face it, Bryan Cranston did that for the first 20 minutes of the movie. So we knew it was possible. We knew that the actors could make a regular story or a decent story better by their performance. And, I don't criticize too heavily on Elizabeth Olsen in this movie because she wasn't really on screen very much. She really wasn't on screen. And, that's just how it is. But overall, I think in terms of a reintroduction of Godzilla into the mainstream, as well as the effects and the motion capture and things of that nature, I thought it was a great, great starting point for what we have now, which is a MonsterVerse that seems to be growing. And Godzilla 2014, I'll never forget, from the moment I started my channel all the way to the release of the movie, it was just one of the best rides, one of the most fun things that I've could ever experience in my life. It was great. The bullshit videos and the crazy websites making crazy claims like Mothra flying with a bunch of Muto in the end credit scene, this Taligan, Vishnu, all that good stuff, man. was a lot of fun. And, excuse me, this time around, it's been more consistent fun. There hasn't been much bullshit at all. It's been very consistent. People have seemed to learn their lesson. You know, maybe Lenny put the scare in them 5 years ago. Who knows, man? But yeah, 2014 was the return of the king, and I thought it was a great, obviously a very successful return. And now, look where we are. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. This is Rob signing off for ETN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching ETN. Click here to watch more content. Don't forget to leave a comment. Also, make sure you like and share this video. If you want to know when the next video is up, click the notification bell next to the subscribe button. And most of all, make sure to click that subscribe button for regular content.